Yes. There's plenty of, that's quite a debris field from what happened. But there is your Daytona 500 champion, Tidal Reddick. And it was no team effort. Reddick was the only Toyota in the top 7, along with 2 Chevrolets and 4 Fords.
Chase Elliott so close. What a heartbreaker for so many, not just him.
Yeah, I went from Stenhouse winning the race to Chase Elliott, and then all the way at the end.
He didn't wait. As soon as he got to the bumper at Zane Smith, he went. I thought he was going to try to push him. Zane Smith in the middle of 3 and 4 backed it up a little bit, going for it. Didn't work.
Jamie Little.
Celebration ongoing down here for Tyler Reddick. He's FaceTiming. Who are you FaceTiming?
Frank Bonsignor. He's normally our tire guy. Liz filled in for him. He's at home buying some stuff. He wouldn't miss a race for anything, and they asked him to stay home and get.
Okay, big win for Michael Jordan over the weekend.
Sure was.
After that whole court case over the summertime, he basically stuck it to the good old boys. You know.
Yeah. And happy birthday, Michael Jordan.
Yes. Oh, it's his birthday today. Cool. It's also Jim Spiros' birthday as well. We'll talk more about that later. So we're going to start our program. We're going to talk to Coach Henry. She is the softball coach at Franklin Marshall up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, right over the border. Basically an hour and a half from us. And then at 8:05, we'll be talking to the new voice of the Professional Bowlers Tour, who, people are wondering who this guy is. So
I know.
Adam knows him. So we'll talk to him later. But Adam, you want to welcome our first guest?
Sure. Well, yes, the World of College Softball has Division 1, Division 2, and Division 3. Well, that's where the classification of our first guest is. He returns home as this is her alma mater. So joining us now to talk about coming home to her alma mater is the head coach of the Franklin Marshall softball team. Dina Henry is joining us. So Dina, thank you so much for joining us right now. What does it mean to you to come home?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. This is a great opportunity. And the first question is, what's it mean to come home? It's a dream. It's an opportunity of a lifetime for sure. It's amazing to start and then hopefully finish my career at my alma mater.
Yeah, talk about your team. I know you guys start later than everybody else. So is that because of the league wants to play middle of March, and so you don't have to worry about the snow, or what's the why the later start?
That's a great question. So we have planned to go to Orlando, Florida for spring break, and our spring break this year is starting a week later than last year. And our schedule is just mimicking last year's schedule, basically. So that's why we are starting later. We are looking in the future if spring break is going to be staying in this week instead of the first week of March, that we'll be starting back in early March again.
Adam, you have another question?
Yeah, so I was looking at your non-conference schedule, and you're playing 2 teams from New Hampshire that I like familiar with the Plymouth State Panthers from Plymouth, New Hampshire. You know exactly where that town is. And then Keene State, Keene, New Hampshire. So just talk about facing those schools from New Hampshire, whatever your non-conference schedule.
I'm sorry, you were echoing a little bit there. Can you repeat the question?
Yes, sir. So, I was looking at your schedule.
Yeah.
And you're playing Plymouth State and Keene State. So just talk about playing those two New Hampshire schools in your non-conference schedule.
Right. So those schools will be playing down in Orlando.
Okay.
We have 10 games down there. We'll be playing 10 games in 6 days. And we were able to take a look at the other teams that were going to be in Orlando at the same time. And the group that is running the program down there, it's called the Spring Games. They allowed us to basically research some teams, look at their records from last year, look at their locations, and choose who we wanted to play. We didn't get all of, they weren't able to accommodate every single choice that everybody had. But if there were some mutual choices, then they matched us up. And based on the teams that we are playing, it was basically based on their record from last year, so that it would be similar to what ours was.
Okay. I'm from New Hampshire. And
okay.
So when I was looking at conference schedule, I was like, hey, I know Plymouth, I know Keene, I know exactly where that is. So, and I know you guys have had to deal with snow. So just talk, in Pennsylvania, during the off season. So just talk about your preparations, practicing inside as you get ready for the start of your season.
Right. Yes. We have been practicing in our indoor facility since January 26th. And it's actually been going pretty well. Unfortunately, we can't scrimmage in there, but we can do a lot of situational things. We are able to hit live off of our pitchers in the cages. Today, we actually did get to go outside. We went into our turf stadium. So that was our first time outside, and we'll be doing that again this week. So that was a lot of fun. It was great to be out in the fresh air and the sunshine. And, it was great. One of the girls said, it's like a little kid that's been grounded for 2 weeks and gets to run free today.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty warm out today. I was really impressed by all the weather outside. I was like, wow, it's not, it's a great day for baseball around here, but you still have some snow around here. I'm like, come on,
right.
Come on, let's get it out of here. I'm tired of looking at it.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just talk about. I was doing some research. Talk about some of your key players that if people are going to tune in to watch you. I know you guys play McDaniel College,
right,
later in the year. So if anybody wants to go up to Westminster, Maryland to watch it, what do they like to? Who do they want to circle to watch your players?
Yeah. We're pretty excited about our roster. We have 23 players on the roster. I would say that our top 2 pitchers this year will be Ainsley McClure, who's a senior, and Kate Del Grippo, who is a sophomore. So they will be 2 pitchers to watch. And Kate is actually a really great hitter. So she'll be in the lineup as a hitter as well, which will be really exciting. And she loves that. And we have some pretty special freshmen. So we have one, Morgan Riznachok, who's going to be playing the middle infield. We have Abby Favaza, who's going to be a catcher. She's got quite an arm. So she's definitely a player to watch. We have a senior, Megan Wiarda, who is also a catcher, and she's one of our captains. She's a great vocal leader for the team, especially as a catcher. You want your catchers to kind of be the coach on the field. So she brings a lot of experience.
That's cool.
In the outfield, we'll have Grace Heater, who's a returning player. She'll be a sophomore. She's our center fielder. And Natalia Garza, who will also be returning. She's a junior. Both of them have a lot of great speed. And then Sarah Hess is a freshman who is also a catcher. So she'll play catcher and outfield. She has a lot of great speed. And Nora Sidorsky is a junior. She's an outfielder. She's got a very good arm and some good range. So we're pretty excited.
Nice.
Adam, you have
yeah. So when it comes is Division III softball just as popular as what we see in Division I and Division II level?
It is, and the only difference is not on TV.
I know. I understand. I
this is the only difference. I mean, obviously, Division I, their level is incredible.
Yes.
Division II, obviously the same thing. But with Division III, I mean, it's still very competitive. Very competitive. And the thing about Franklin and Marshall and the Centennial Conference is that we are an academic conference as well. So these players are committed both academically and athletically, and they're playing without scholarships, and they are dedicated to doing that. This is a priority for them, just like their academics. And that's what I think shows what kind of heart they have and the character that they have, and why it's so special for them.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, I was up in your neck of the woods back in November, and there's a lot of construction in the Lancaster area. They're taking an old campus building and turning it into an apartment complex, and it's right down the street from you guys, and I was up there dropping off paint. I was like, wow, that's a lot of, I didn't realize Franklin Marshall was in that area. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy with all the construction going on. So is that affecting everything from you guys trying to get around because of that? They're building that massive, building right down.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's been fine. It's been fine. And if I can just put a plug in for Lancaster City and our campus, we have such a beautiful campus, and Lancaster City is such a great small city to be in. There's so many restaurants. Has such a great art district. There's a lot to do, and people don't realize it until they come and visit, and then they realize, wow, look at all that there is to do, and what a charming little town.
Right.
And I know that there's the minor league baseball team, the Lancaster Barnstormers.
Yep, the Stormers. They're right across the street from the campus.
Oh, nice. Okay, so
yeah, we were able to catch a game in the fall as a team. That was a lot of fun. We had a suite in the stadium, so that was fun. And one of my players, Ainsley, the senior pitcher, she threw out the first pitch.
Nice.
So that was pretty cool.
Cool. We love minor league baseball, and it's like so it's nice to see after all the snow and all the cold weather that softball's starting, baseball's starting. It's like, I live here in North Carolina, and yes, I did get snow here, and it's like but as soon as it comes February 13th or the first week of February, I know that college softball is starting.
Yep.
The week after, college baseball is starting, and it's like, now my spring sports are back, and I can, since there's no football, it's like, at least I can say softball's back, baseball's back.
Right. That's right. It's exciting. You're from North Carolina. We have a player on our team from North Carolina.
Oh, where's she from?
Chapel Hill.
Oh, okay. Actually, Chris and I, we actually cover the ACC here on our show. So last year when we were at the ACC kickoff in Charlotte, we got a chance to see Bill Belichick, and Chris can tell you, it was like a circus, right, Chris?
Yeah, it was a circus. It looked like Taylor Swift coming down the hallway. You know, it was like I didn't even know what, you know, I'm walking down to the media area, and all of a sudden it's like everybody's like lined up on rows. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? You know, so I'm thinking like they're all looking at me. I'm like, oh, thanks, yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, and I'm like, oh, here comes Bill. Yeah, I'm like, okay, yeah. And there's people that were not supposed to, never been there before, just shows up. I'm like, how do you just here just for what, 5 minutes and that's it? You know, like, come on, it's crazy. It's crazy stuff. So that's what the ACC is. So
yeah.
Well, Coach Henry, I appreciate you joining us tonight, and I hope you guys can get outside a little bit more, and hopefully the snow will go away, and you guys can start playing some softball. So that'll be cool.
Yeah, thank you. We are looking so forward to this season. I think that our team has just a new commitment. I mean, with this being my first year, and we're really working on team culture and what it means to buy in and be committed and to be a good teammate, and they have so much fun together. They love to compete with one another. They're so dedicated. They work so hard outside of practice, getting extra reps, and we're just really looking forward to what we can do this season.
You don't have any first year jitters, do you?
I don't. No, not at all. So this is actually my 20th year as a college coach, but it's my first year at F&M. So I coached 20 years or 19 years between basketball and softball. So because I played both sports at F&M, and I've been a college coach for both sports.
Oh, so, nice. Cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, have a great rest of your night, and thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me. Have a good evening.
You're welcome. See you later.
Enjoy Orlando.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, that's Coach Henry from Franklin Marshall up there in beautiful Lancaster, Maryland. Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
There is a Lancaster, Maryland, probably.
There is Lancaster, Maryland.
Yeah, my dad was saying today, there's Annapolis. I was like, there is Annapolis, Georgia, probably somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah, most likely there is little towns and little places.
Yes, there's even a town in Georgia known as Helen, Georgia, which is like in the northwest corner of the state, and it's like a small German town. So.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Before we bring this next guest in, let's bring him in. But we'll play why. You can probably hear these guys. This gentleman. I'm wearing the Carolina Panther jersey because some weekends you might hear him at Bank of America. Yeah, but he's well known for this. So here it is.
This time by perfect lap. White flag in the air. One more time around from Miami. Jimmy Johnson has never won at Homestead Miami Speedway, but he's never been in a position where he's had to win for a championship. Down the backstretch he goes. A half a lap away from the championship. Jimmy Johnson through 3 and 4. Make room. Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt. There's another.
Chris, can I bring him in?
Yes, bring him in.
Sure. So our next Sunday was the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl of stock car racing. He was there. He's no stranger to NASCAR, as you heard. In fact, he's called races involving Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr., among others. He is the PA voice of the Carolina Panthers. He's done ACC, college football, and college basketball for the CW. Well, now he makes the transition from the hardwood to the bowling lanes as he teams up with PBA Tour and YouTube star Kyle Sherman for 10 consecutive weeks on the CW starting on Sunday. So joining us now to talk about his newest adventure is the new voice of the PBA Tour on the CW. Rick Allen is joining us tonight. So Rick, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And when I heard you were the new voice, I was like, as a NASCAR fan, I know that voice quite well. So how did you become the newest voice of the PBA Tour on the CW.
Well, Adam, when you said I was moving from the hardwood, I think I'm actually going to stay with hardwood because the bowling alley is that's hardwood.
Yeah,
as well.
but still,
we can tie those together. The college basketball season has been wonderful for me, so I've had a good time with that. But really looking forward to the PBA. This is going to be a very exciting transition for me. As a matter of fact, I've spent the last, couple hours watching stats and watching qualifying, which is taking place right now in Texas for the Players Championship, which is happening this weekend. And as you mentioned, it'll be on CW. It airs from 4 to 6 Eastern on the CW every Sunday. So that's one of the great things about this sport that I think people can really fall in love with is the time is going to be the same for 10 weeks straight. You're going to tune in to the CW at 4 o'clock Eastern, and you're going to watch the best bowlers in the world. And so I'm excited about that. I'm a great time to be a part of it. You mentioned Kyle Sherman. He will be my color analyst, which I'm looking forward to working with him also. But yeah, just a great time. I'm excited that I can join Chris, Adam, you guys here today.
Well, I appreciate you coming on tonight. And so just talk about how did you I know everybody knows bowling because we all go bowling and we have fun, and but Adam and I we're rabid bowling fans since we were like kids growing up. So how did they approach you to say, hey, Rick, would you like to do bowling this spring? How did they do that?
Well, I'm very lucky because there's a gentleman by the name of Jason Wormser who is one of the executives with CW Sports. And he talked to me last year about doing some things on the CW as far as I did college football, I did college basketball over the fall and in the spring now. And he said, we are taking over the PBA tour on the CW. And he said, would you have any interest in being a part of that? And I said, absolutely. I would love to be a part of bowling. I love bowling. And so my name was thrown into the hat, and I was interviewed, I guess, and auditioned and talked a little bit with the PBA tour and all of their executives, and they decided that I would be a good fit. And so that's how this came to be. I'm very thankful that the CW has been so wonderful as far as giving me opportunities to stay in sports and continue to do broadcasting, which I love to do. And so the CW, continues to grow as far as sports go. The PBA is going to extend the hours, annual hours of live sports to almost 800 hours of live sports on the CW. So they just continue to grow. They just grabbed the Mountain West Conference. So they're going to continue to have a strong foothold in sports, and I'm excited to be a part of the CW's, beginning with the PBA tour.
Yeah, I think it's great to have it on consecutive weeks at 4 o'clock because when they lost the ABC contract in 1997, before that it was always 3:30 or 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoons. It was right before Wide World of Sports. And I had a gentleman who was on Facebook say like, yeah, bowling is dying. I'm like, well, yeah, because it's not consistently where everybody knows it is, 3:30 on Saturday afternoon. So being on a Sunday at 4 for 10 straight weeks, hopefully that'll get people to realize, oh, bowling's on at 4 o'clock on Sunday instead of when it was on Fox. No offense to Fox, but they moved everything all over the place. Like one night it was like 10 o'clock p.m. They were playing, and my girlfriend's like, why are they airing this at 10 o'clock p.m.? I was like, maybe that's the only time spot they had. But it was taped, so you could tell it was taped, and it was people were like, and Adam and I and everybody we talked to, they wanted consistency, knowing that Sunday afternoons at 4 o'clock now until middle of end of April, it's bowling Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, and Chris, you and Adam, you're too young. You referenced the fact that what I did as a kid, I grew up listening to Chris Schenkel and that ABC broadcast on, Saturday afternoons where, you come in and you'd sit in front of the TV and it's like, wow, these guys are incredible. And And that's the best thing about bowling. You guys both mentioned it, that you like bowling. We all like bowling. As kids, you can bowl. We can go out there and bowl and have a good time. And you'd see these guys and you expect to strike every time from a pro bowler. That's kind of the crazy thing. And then if they do leave a pin, you expect them to always pick it up.
Right.
But even with qualifying today, the guy who was leading the first round of qualifying, Tony, I'm forgetting his last, Tony Brand, or Troy Brand. Troy Brand was leading. Well, Troy Brand has, in the 6 games, he's knocked down more pins than anybody. So in the first round of qualifying, he's the leader. But his first frame was an open frame.
Oh,
and
wow.
I think, okay, that's me. I know what that feels like. So, it's pretty cool that you can understand what these guys are going through, but at the same time, they have so much skill and so much talent that they'll just consistently put together, 200 plus games.
And Rick, we grew up watching, Pete Weber and Mike Albee, and they come on our show too. And my mom said, my mom said to myself, like one time, she goes, "Oh, little Chris is enjoying listening to his heroes." Because I used to come home.
Pete Weber's my hero. I love Pete Weber.
Yeah, I used to come home from league bowling and really tick my brothers off because they all want to go outside and play football at 3:00 in the street. I'm like, no, bowling's on. I'll see you at 4:30. Yeah. And they're like, why do you want to watch bowling? I was like, because I like watching bowling, And so I was upstairs watching every Saturday, even if I had to go somewhere. I even taped it, my dad's old VCR tape. So I had it upstairs and watched it when I got home because that was something I enjoyed doing, And Adam did the same thing, and probably recorded everything, and we love bowling to the point of I think I have more history about bowling history than baseball history, because I studied more about bowling when I was a kid growing up. Adam and I were talking sometimes, and it was like, oh, I remember that tour stop, and the cool thing about you guys being on 4:00, when I was a kid growing up, I learned about geography in this country by bowling. Because they used to have the PBA National Championship in Toledo, Ohio. Well, I went over the Maumee River one time to drop off a car, and I'm thinking the Maumee River. That's what Chris Schenkel said, And I'm like, and I started looking up in my phone, going, "Where's Imperial Lanes? I want to know where that is, so I could go, drive by with the car I had to take back to Maryland." I'm like, oh, I'm just going to take a pit stop real quick and see what's going on. They closed the thing down. I'm like, oh.
Chris, you've inspired me. Now I'm going to have to make sure to give a little bit of a geography lesson in every broadcast so that the kids that are watching understand where we are. Yeah,
because I learned all that when I was a kid. So now when I go places like Ohio or North Carolina or Arizona, I'm like, oh, that's Tucson. That's where the Tucson Open was when I was a kid, or in Ohio, like the Tournament of Champions, in Akron, and it's that's how I learned about where things are in this country. And I think that's what bowling needs to do, again, is teach these young kids knowing where to go. Hey, you're in, this week you're in Texas. Find something that's cool about Texas. I think you're going to be outside of Jerry World. Say, hey,
Six Flags, Texas, by the way, is where Arlington, Texas is where we are. As a matter of fact, when we were there 2 weeks ago, I met with Kyle Sherman there and some of the folks at the Hall of Fame, but we literally were driving by the roller coasters that are right next to where the Hall of Fame is for this event.
Yeah, I was there once, and I was like, it was the best. I'm sorry, that was the best $10 I ever spent. Just to go in there and see.
You were there a little earlier,
yeah. See all the history, and this week this past Sunday they bowled on those lanes.
Yep,
I didn't even know.
They let me bowl on them too.
Yeah, I didn't even know those things work because I saw they turned on. I was there and I'm like, do they work?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking no, I'm not going to touch them. I'm like, no.
They had a young kid. They had a young kid standing back there, and he was picking the pins up and setting them into the pin mechanism that would then send them onto the lane, which was really cool.
Yeah. Well, Adam and I thought about something because we didn't know if you knew your bowling history. So we have a couple questions we want to ask you about bowling history.
Fire away. And then help me if I don't.
Okay. All right. So here's one question. How many 300 games have been on TV?
300 games that have been on TV, I would say probably maybe 16 or 18, probably right around there. Is that close?
Close, but it's actually, but when I was a kid growing up, it was only 4.
Right.
Now it's like 35.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because of the bowling balls are better now. But back then it was a running joke with Chris Schenkel. Like every time Chris Schenkel missed the telecast, there was supposed to be a 300 game going on. So he finally was like, I finally have one. Yeah. I'm like,
yeah.
The running joke.
How about the 7-10 split pickup? How many times has that ever been done on television? Adam, do you know it?
Adam, you muted, bud.
Are you muted?
Yeah, he's muted. I don't know why he's muted. Anyway, I know it's 4 times. So
4 times.
Yes.
4 times. I thought that'd be pretty cool if we could open up the CW's first day of broadcasting with a 7-10 pickup. I think that'd be pretty spectacular.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. Yeah. So but I was funny when I was in bowling, youth bowling. I actually made the 7-10 split like John Mazda, and
Really?
I actually literally bounced the pin out on the left side. He did it on the right side.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had John Mazda on like a year ago, and I said to him, like, I think I did just like you, and I showed him the video, and he goes, "Oh my God, you actually did." I was like, "Yeah, I did the other side, and somehow I bounced it. I hit it so hard it bounced out and rolled over and took it, and it was like a high school league, and they all looked at me like, "You cheated." I'm like, "How did I cheat? I knocked the thing. I knocked the thing over." So, but it's like bowling a 7-10 is like hitting a walk-off grand slam. You'll never ever do it again.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy. Adam, are you working? I think he's muted. Yeah,
I can't hear him. If he's talking, I can't hear him.
He's muted. I don't know what's wrong with him. Anyway, it's just you and I.
All right.
Yeah. Another question here. I had a lot of questions. I was working on a lot of stuff today. You know what the PBA has? How many bowlers have bowled got the Triple Crown? That's like the United States Open. It used to be the PBA National Championship. Now it's the World Championship, and the Firestone.
How would you feel if I showed you my stat book that I have sitting?
All right, that works. That works.
So I have all that stuff. The Triple Crown. So actually, I'm gonna. I don't know exactly. Yeah, 35 by the way of the 300 games. I don't know exactly the Triple Crown. There's been Billy Hardwick, Traglia, Albee, Weber, Duke, Barnes, Belmonte, Barrett, and Tackett. They have the Triple Crown.
Yep, correct.
Yeah.
The thing though, and Adam, you're back. Can I
it's called, I have a question for you.
Oh, you got a question. Hold on. I want to make one big comment here. The one thing we have to watch for is EJ Tackett, who's player of the year.
Mm-hmm.
He has never won a players championship.
Right.
So if he would win this, it would take him to another level of greatness, which I think he's already achieved almost all levels of greatness. But if he were to win this weekend, that would be something that he doesn't have on his resume yet. Yeah. Go ahead, Adam. I'm sorry.
Okay, so first of all, I love your Big 8 conference shirt. It's called Since.
I was a Big 8 athlete. I was an athlete at Nebraska. So
yes, you were. I read your I read your Wikipedia page. So obviously, Kyle Troop, and he was he came and saw you at one of the Carolina Panther games.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, before Kyle started bowling on the PBA tour, which fast food restaurant company did he work for?
Man, that's a great question. I think he was from Hickory. So
he was?
think can I try Arby's? How about Arby's?
No.
Oh
no.
I know it's called Wendy's.
Wendy's. Okay, Wendy's. Great. That's a great sponsor plug.
I was like, since you were coming on, I was like, I'm gonna throw Rick a curveball.
That's a good one. That's a good
I
one.
was like, okay, so I know you were since you were at Daytona on Sunday, I have to ask, how cool was it to see Michael Jordan finally get a Daytona 500 ring among all the other accolades he's done in the world of basketball?
what's great about that is Michael Jordan is extremely passionate about NASCAR. Like it's something that his family, they traveled, to Talladega, to Darlington. They went all around to watch NASCAR races when he was a kid. And so for him to be involved and be as involved as he is in NASCAR is really incredible. I was a season ticket holder at the Hornets for many, many years when he was the owner. We wouldn't see him much at the Hornets games, but I'm telling you, you see him at more NASCAR events than probably Hornet games. And so that was kind of cool to see him achieve that and get that accomplishment, because you could see when he went into victory lane and was celebrating with Tyler Reddick and that whole crew, it was emotional for him to, have won the Daytona 500. That's the biggest trophy you can win in NASCAR. And so for him to be able to grab that as an owner, I think he was really fired up about that.
That's awesome.
And I can say this to you, Rick. Chris and I will be in Akron for the TOC in April. So I can't wait to it's called.
Are you going to come visit? Are you going to come? You're going to come be on the show with me?
Hey, I mean, I do know the people behind the scenes, so it's like if they want me,
hey, I can help you out if you want to.
I've been watching the PBA tour for 39 years, so it's like, it's like as a little kid,
I'll take Kyle's job.
Well, it's like, I can say this. When you go up to Portland, Maine, to Bayside Bowl, it's called. Someone who has gone there several times, think of it as like a football crowd, a basketball crowd, a crowd of Bristol Motor Speedway, because those fans are rowdy, crazy. You will love it.
I will.
You will fall in love with it. And it's like, and also, I know where to go for good food in Akron, so I'll send you a DM on Instagram about where to go for breakfast, lunch.
Excellent.
That works.
Excellent. I love to hear that, Adam. That's perfect.
Thank you. It's called thank you. So,
well, Rick, we're up against the clock here, but thank you so much for coming on tonight. I want to wish you and Kyle a great time on Sunday. Hope you guys have a great broadcast. We'll be tuning in here in Baltimore and
in North Carolina,
and we'll see you. We will see you hopefully in Akron in late April. Maybe we'll stop by and give you some help.
Excellent. I look forward to it, guys. Thank you so much. I've had a great time. You guys enjoy bowling on the CW. 4 o'clock.
Sure will, my friend. Sure will.
Thanks,
Rick.
Thanks, guys.
All right, see you. Bye.
It's called I Forgot.
Folks, that's Rick Allen, the new
forgot.
voice of the PBA Tour. Before we bring our next guest in, don't forget Sunday at 4 p.m. on CW, the Players Championship. What's the name? His name, the kid last year won it.
Ethan Fiore.
Yes, and our good friend Ryan Barnes came in second. Yeah, so hopefully we'll have some good people on the telecast. He was talking about, before we bring our next guest, after the first round, the second round has started, but after the first round, our friend Kyle Troop is in 5th place as we started the second round. So
I thought I unmuted my mic. But it's called him, but that made my night.
Yes, it was.
And I can't wait to meet him in person in April. Yeah. I have 64 days until I fly to.
Yeah, we're going to work on that when I get there. That's my plan.
Yes, sir. I will help you.
Thank you. Let's bring in our next guest. Frostburg State University is playing some baseball this year. So I think they have a home game this weekend. So we're bringing Coach Williams, who last week was fighting an illness just like I was. So, Coach, how are you feeling tonight? Hold on, he's still muted.
Unmute your microphone.
Yeah, how's that? Is that better?
All good.
How are
Coach.
you
Yeah.
tonight? How are you feeling?
Hey, I'm doing
better?
a lot. Yeah, I'm doing a lot better. I appreciate you asking, and I'm glad you're feeling better too.
Yeah, it's been one of those things around here. Like everybody gets something this time of year, like colds and stuff, and it's like, you can't help it when the weather is 15 degrees out, and you're like, oh god, yeah, you got to go outside. Yeah,
I got 2 little kids at home, so it's just a matter of time for me, and my wife. So we got it out of the way before opening day. Let's hope we're in the clear now. So
yeah, that's cool. So talk about your team. How's I know you guys haven't had practice outside. Everybody around here in Maryland had snow coming out of our wazoo. So
yeah,
how did you do practice?
Well, I mean, out here in Mountain Maryland, we're pretty well equipped to handle snow. So, I'll start by giving a great shout out to our facilities people at Frostburg. They got our football stadium plowed, track and everything. So we've been outside for the last 2 weeks, been able to get practice in outside on the football field at least, which has been very helpful. Given the fact that we just opened up our season this past weekend. It's not uncommon in Western Maryland with college baseball starting in mid-February to go right from the gym to opening day on a field somewhere south, which is kind of what we did. But having the turf football field at our disposal allowed our guys to kind of catch up a little bit on some of that missed time. But yeah, man, no, out here in the mountains, we're used to the snow, so we're equipped to deal with it. Maybe better than you guys are down there. But yeah, like I said, shout out to our people here at Frostburg. They did a great job, and it's here, man. The season's here, and we're rocking and rolling.
Yeah. So this weekend you're going back down to North Carolina to Carone. I guess you'll be playing at the facility for the baseball, the USA baseball.
Yep. So, Cary, North Carolina, man. If you get a chance to go, it's right outside of Raleigh. It's right near NC State, very close by. Cary is where host of the USA Baseball Complex, as you mentioned. Beautiful. It's just a beautiful complex. It's where they host the Division II College World Series. So we make it a point to go down there every year. Just it's great, great area, but it's great facilities there, and our guys love the trip. I love the trip, and it's not too far, so it's not too bad. 6.5 hours.
Yeah. Adam, you have another question?
Yeah. So you guys took 2 out of 3 from Ashland this past weekend. So who are some of the stars that led your team, to take 2 out of 3 wins over Ashland?
Yeah, it was a big weekend, even though it was the first one. It was they're a good opponent. I mean, if you look them up, I think they had a 7th rounder from the Orioles, I think, drafted them last year out of Ashland University. So they've had good arms. This guy last year was throwing like 100. I think that's why the Orioles drafted him. But yeah, we went down there and we knew we were going to see some good competition. They're from Ohio, so they're not on the field either right now. So we both went down to Charleston, West Virginia. It was kind of a neutral site, turf and lights and decent weather, so it kind of worked out for us to play neutral site down there. But yeah, got 2 out of 3 on opening weekend. Was very nice. Got to see some contributions from some young guys and some returners as well. Our roster's pretty much 50% Maryland guys, 50% out of state guys, so we've got contributions coming from both. But the series itself was a lot of fun. If you love college baseball, we needed the 9th inning twice to win, and we played the doubleheader. One of the games was 7 innings. If it would have been a 9-inning game, I feel like we could have won that one as well. But yeah, taking 2 out of 3 was good. Really just excited that some of the young guys jumped into the lineup and weren't overmatched and weren't fazed by the competition. We had a freshman from John Carroll High School in Maryland, in Baltimore area, leading off for us playing third base. His name's Drew Jordan. Okay. And he was a really outstanding player in the MIAA last year as a senior on a super good team. John Carroll's team was loaded. So he's been in our lineup all 3 games at the leadoff spot. So that's been exciting to watch him grow. And like I said, we got a mix of Maryland guys and out-of-state guys. Our leadoff guy the last 2 years, Jackson Shallock, he's from New Jersey, but he's hitting 3-hole for us now. He had a walk-off 2-run single in game 1, and he also had a go-ahead 2-run double in the 9th in Game 3. So he's been a clutch performer for us. Was a first-team all-conference guy last year. But yeah, we graduated a lot on the mound, so we're still, putting the pieces in place and who's going to go where and what that rotation is going to look like long term. Always tinkering in the back end of the bullpen, but yeah, exciting for sure.
Yeah, talk about you recruiting kids from Harford County. My parents are in Bel Air, so I know all about the Bel Air kids and, Harford County kids. And, I know, during the baseball season, Bel Air High School is good and Cena on the Right's good. And then you got down there, Havity Grayson up in North Hartford and all that stuff. What's it like recruiting kids from Harford County to say, hey, would you like to go see snow? Just keep going west.
Well, yeah. I mean, kids want an opportunity to play. We know what we're up against recruiting in the state of Maryland with a lot of really good mid-major Division I schools that we recruit against. But I think kids understand, hey, look, this is Division II baseball. Frostburg is the only Division II baseball school in the state of Maryland. So if I want to keep my costs down, maybe get some scholarship money, have a chance to compete for championships, and for some kids, it's an opportunity to get on the field earlier than maybe they would at the Division I level. Right. There's a lot of appealing things in that regard. Yeah, I mean, we know the weather in anywhere in Maryland this year has been rough. So it's just about who's willing to kind of navigate that and put in the work. And you got to have a place that has good facilities. And fortunately for us, we've got really good indoor facilities that allows our guys to prepare. Our indoor cage room on campus is outstanding for getting our guys prepared. So yeah, but I think it's certainly recruiting is this day and age with the way you may lose a kid to a transfer portal and things of that nature. You always need to be having a good base of high school kids coming into your program every year. So we've been able to do that. And being a state school, we're going to lean on Maryland kids and kids in the Mid-Atlantic area first and foremost. Once in a while we'll get some out-of-state guys.
Yeah, I was just looking at your roster. You got some kids who played at Hofstra, Penn State. Yep. It's like Hofstra has a very good – we just had the coach from Hofstra on, former Met, Frank Catalano on, last week.
Yeah.
They have a good program. They played against Mississippi State over the weekend, and they hung them tough. Yeah. It was like I was really impressed by their team. They did, they practice indoors all winter like everybody else up here, and they lost 5-4, 3-2, whatever. I was like, wow, I said they could actually play really well against SEC schools, and these kids are probably you got from Hofstra or Penn State. They're used to playing tough baseball.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, Hofstra's up on Long Island, so it's cold and windy up there at this time of year as well. But the transfer we did get from Hofstra, he was starting last year against Tennessee opening weekend. So he's been kind of baptism by fire out there last year for them. So he brings experience to our team. And yeah, we're going to maybe lose some kids to the portal that maybe have an opportunity to go play at a higher level. We have our pitcher of the year from last year. He's at James Madison now. They actually were down in Florida State this weekend. He was Pat Bauer. He was the number 3 starter going to pitch on Sunday, but the game got rained out. So I think he's actually pitching for James Madison tomorrow. But it's cool to see some of those guys moving on and getting opportunities. But we've also benefited from the transfer portal by bringing in kids from Hofstra, Penn State, different programs, University of Maryland as well. So kind of goes both ways.
Yeah. Adam, you have the final question. Go ahead, buddy.
Sure. So I'm looking at your schedule, and the last weekend of February into the first part of March, you guys are playing 3 games in Morgantown, West Virginia. So are you going to be playing at West Virginia's campus, or are you going to be playing at the minor league stadium?
We'll be at the minor league stadium for one of the games. I think it's the first one on Friday, which is, I believe, Walsh. Yes. And then we'll be at another park in Morgantown. We're doing a big kind of like the PSAC, which is the Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference, and the Mountain East Conference that we're in. We're doing like kind of like a crossover weekend with a bunch of teams from both leagues. So we're using a few different facilities, but they're making sure everybody gets a game, at WVU's park there that they share with the West Virginia Black Bears.
That's cool. Awesome.
Yeah, it'll be a neat experience. We played there. Well, it might have been 3 or 4 years ago now. It's a great venue, and the MLB Draft League put a team in Morgantown. They have a team. The Frederick Keys were in that same draft league as well. So it's kind of neat to get to play on a facility like that.
Yeah, now that draft league is going to be in Aberdeen, and that stadium's still pretty nice in Aberdeen. I know. The Orioles had moved out from Aberdeen to Frederick, back to the Keys taking over. We got the voice of the Keys coming on at the top of the hour at 9:00. But
oh, really? Cool.
Yeah, but it's really strange that you have a team that like the Keys got folded because of the whole pandemic stuff, and then now the Orioles are like, hey, we'll bring you back if you want to remodel your stadium. I'm like, are you serious? I'm like,
right.
I've been out 70 one time picking up stuff, and I'm like, that is a construction site now. I'm like, okay.
Between Frederick and Hagerstown, for sure. Hagerstown just built a brand new ballpark. We're playing Shepherd there in April on a Tuesday night.
Cool.
Hagerstown's new ballpark. Yeah, so it's been a lot of construction up and down I-70 for sure.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, so we have construction here. It seems like construction's everywhere. It's like we have construction here in North Carolina, and it's like, can it end? It's like, it's like
well, I hope it's not too bad on our trip down to North Carolina. We leave Thursday morning. So.
I think it's supposed to be nice this weekend in Cary. So
hopefully no rain.
I hope. Yeah,
that's true. Well, Coach, I appreciate you coming on tonight, and I hope you have a great trip down to North Carolina. Bring some of that warm weather right up to Maryland and get the snow out of here. Yeah, that's a good thing.
No doubt, fellas. Well, college baseball's here, so full steam ahead, man, until they decide to move it out of February and start it in March, like sensible. So
thank you.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate talking to you.
You're welcome. It's called Safe Travels to North Carolina.
We'll see you.
All right, that's Coach Williams from Frostburg State University. They're heading down to North Carolina this weekend. So we're going to be we're going to talk about Orioles baseball. The Orioles are doing spring training. We're waiting for Connor. What's his name? Kyle.
Connor Newcomb.
Yeah, Kyle Newcomb should be coming up at about 8:45. But we'll bring right now. We'll bring in the head softball coach at Stevenson University. Adam, you want to bring her in?
Sure. So, with college softball season here, I know that she's ready to, I know that she's been itching, for college softball season to get here. So joining us now to talk about Stevenson University softball is their head coach. Julia Culotta is joining us. So, Coach, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and just to talk about your off-season workouts going into the 2026 season.
Hi, well, thank you guys for having me. It's nice to see both of you, and they've been interesting, as I'm sure, the weather outside is really dictated kind of, where we're going and how everything's going. But fortunately today it was beautiful. And so we got outside and we're able to have, our first live kind of session with live batters, not only for the pitchers, but obviously the batters, but it's been going really well. So we kind of focus our practice for the first month in one of our auxiliary gyms. And then we're able just to kind of grab space wherever we can. We have 2 really nice spots on campus. We have our field hockey AstroTurf as well as our stadium turf. So we kind of try and use those until the field is ready. And unfortunately, we've had a little bit more snow than ideal, but it's pretty. And hopefully that just means some greener grass, when it comes to March, April, and May.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much snow we had until I went up to Harford County today. I was like, oh, God, that's a lot of snow.
Yeah, that's where I live, actually, so I feel you on that.
Yeah, I'm driving around. There's big puddles of water everywhere. I'm like, okay, I hope we don't get a cold temperature at night and go have some slip and sliding with those school buses. It's like these things are like looked like they could fish out of them. It was like like geez. So I didn't realize how much snow we got until I looked at the grass. I was like, is that grass?
We've
never seen that before.
Yeah, we've definitely been on field watch. We're driving by and we're just hoping we see a little bit of the top of the grass or a little dirt or an outline. So right now, fortunately, we're seeing kind of the infield outline and some grass tips. So hopefully by the end of the week.
Yeah. So you guys don't play till March 5th, so that's a good thing. So you could actually get some time for, all this weather to clear up, and the field will be great. You got to go to. It's on the road, so you have to go to University of Valley Forge, and then up there in Phoenixville, Maryland. I think I went up that way once. But what is it like? You have 15 more days of practice before your first game, so that's good if this weather is going to clear up the field.
Yeah, we're excited to have that time because I originally coached and played Division I, and you're playing already. So there's not a really big preseason, especially in the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. Like there's no preseason unless you have a dome. So Division III wise, I think it's smart to kind of wait as long as you can to schedule, mostly because you can kind of build those reps. And fortunately, how we have a good number of pitchers, so we're able to get those live reps when we can. But right now, it's just kind of like making sure that our team core values and our culture stuff is really in a great place. And then fortunately, we have some time to work on that. It's going really great. And then we'll hit, we'll hit it hard with games, and hopefully we get to play that early. And if not, we take a southern swing down to Myrtle Beach in mid-March, kind of to kick off our season right before our conference play. So that's really a great time for us. And if we don't get to play till then, we're going to have a lot of good practices.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Adam, you have another question?
Yeah, so I'm looking at your bio, and you were a redshirt freshman at the University of Tennessee in 2007. So how cool was it to play college softball at an elite school and have outstanding coaches like the Weekleys on Rocky Top?
It was cool. I mean, it was an interesting year. I mean, I think it's more or less like as a first year in that experience, it's wild. And I mean, Monica Abbott was on the team, and there was our shortstop was Lindsay Schutzler, and there was just so many. Tanya Callahan was the first, but there's so many like crazy cool people on that team. But also the experience that it gave me as a player in this kind of interesting time of the transfer portal. Like I transferred to UMBC right down the street, and I think I really understand athletes now and kind of their mindset. That was a difficult decision for me, but it was a really cool beginning to my career for sure.
Okay, so I've got to ask, how cool was it to be around a legend like Monica Abbott, in Knoxville, since I know that she's done so much over there on Rocky Top, one of the greatest softball pitchers of all time. So you got any cool Monica Abbott stories you want to share?
I mean, I just think it was really cool. And I mean, as she was busy. So like she was like, even before NIL, she was like really busy and she was doing her own thing. So we got like some time with her, but I think it was just so cool that like she had an interesting style, like learning from their sports psychologist there. Like she never looked at the batter, and I always remembered that. And I just thought that was so cool.
Cool.
Nice. So you're from North Hartford. I'm from Bel Air. So to talk about Hartford County softball, because I think people don't realize how great softball in Hartford County is. Pretty good. Not bad. Yeah. It's a good little. Schools are good. Rivalries are good. I think it's always good for when you have a rivalry in springtime.
Yeah, I think we've had a pretty good history of recruiting from the area, mostly because it is kind of a little bit of a forgotten softball area, especially with obviously the middle of Maryland being so lacrosse heavy. But we've had a lot of successful athletes on our team over the years. We currently have Michaela Getz, our center fielder for the past couple of years, who has been an all-conference performer. She went to John Carroll. So I think we have had a lot of success there, as well as many different counties in Maryland, and Lower Pennsylvania has been a great place for us as well.
Yeah. Adam, you have another question?
Yeah. So, just talk about the conference you're in, and who are some, other than you, who are some of the teams that we need to keep an eye on this year?
Yeah, I think the MAC Commonwealth, we're very lucky to play in a really good conference. So NPI is really big now in Division III, and we're fortunate that our conference is really, really quite loaded softball-wise. Like there was like 4 or 5 teams last year, including ourselves, with 20-plus win seasons, and I think that just speaks to the conference. I think in conference, our heavy hitters have always been, Messiah, York, Eastern, and Widener is always really scrappy. And that's not to speak of the other teams not being really successful and difficult opponents as well. I think it all comes down to pitching, and we all know that in baseball as well as in softball. That's your bread and butter, and I think that is kind of what dictates our conference as well.
Yeah. Well, Coach, I appreciate you coming on tonight. I hope you have a great rest of your 15 days of hopefully nice warm weather, and you get ready for softball, and we'll keep in touch with you throughout the year. I hope you can hear me.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Good one.
Enjoy Myrtle Beach.
I don't know if it was her connection or not, but we're good.
Cool.
Yes, so that was the head coach of Stevenson University, Coach Julia Culotta, joining us, who's from Street, Maryland. So she spent her time in Tennessee and all that stuff. We're going to switch gears and talk Orioles baseball, and this guy is a brand new Oriole. I don't know if I could deal with it, but yeah.
Chris,
here it is.
You can deal with it.
Yep, I got to show him his first homer as an Oriole, and this is just practice. All right, get that out of the way.
Yes. I think
I'm still trying to get used to him in an Orioles uniform. Okay, I'm so used.
Well, yes, Chris, it's called
first base, City Field.
You have to get used to it. I have to get used to it, and I know Connor has to.
Connor must be loving it because you got to, power. His jaw probably hasn't, come back up since Pete Alonso's been in that Orioles uniform. Connor Newcomb covers the Orioles for Lockdown Orioles. So, Connor, how do you love hearing that sound? I heard it a lot at Citi Field and wearing the blue and orange of the Mets, and it's a little hard for me still getting used to him in that uniform. But hey, he looks like he's having fun down there.
Yeah, I mean, thanks guys for having me on. I mean, it's been 2 months now, I think, since the signing went official for Alonso, and I still feel excited about it. I know some Orioles fans are kind of at the point where it's like, all right, they didn't get a top starting pitcher. Maybe we'll get into that, but they got one of the best free agents on the market this offseason. And when is the last time you could say that about the Baltimore Orioles? Like maybe in the 90s when they ran those big payrolls under Peter Angelos is the last time you could say that. So yes, would it be more exciting if that signing happened yesterday, like right before camp? Yeah. But Alonso's there. He's a leader. He's making a ton of money. He's a great hitter. It's a very different feeling for an Orioles offseason.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because of me being a Met fan since I was a kid, and Pete coming up from the farm system and it's in the Mets organization, and he's the all-time Met home run leader. So I'm thinking like, okay, you beat Darryl Strawberry's record. Now let's go down to Camden Yards and see if you could. Who has the all-time record at home runs in the Orioles uniform? Is it Cal?
I think it's Cal. I mean, if you guess who has a record for anything in an Orioles uniform, it's Cal, mostly because of volume. I mean, no one can touch his volume of games played and the fact that he did hit a good amount of homers as well.
Yeah, but I think everybody knows, now, with Pete Alonso. And then you got Chris Bassett, who spent time at Citi Field with Pete Alonso, so he knows Chris. So that's going to work really well. You have two veterans and basically two coaches on the field pretty much.
Yeah, it's exciting for the Bassett stuff too. They were kind of connected to Verlander at one point in the offseason, and I think Bassett just provides, he's not a future Hall of Famer, but he's probably better, 5 years younger than Verlander, probably a little bit better at this point, and he still provides that leadership. Like Bassett's on the MLBPA executive committee, like he's a leader not just among the Orioles, but among the league in terms of veteran players. So even if he just gives you 25 starts and a 4-something ERA, which he's been better than that recently, I think he'll do good things for the clubhouse too.
It is Cal Ripken Jr., is the all-time home run leader for the Orioles.
I win.
Yes, Chris Hall is called.
I thought it was somebody else like Frank Robinson or somebody who had more time, but I realized Cal was there more than my entire childhood. So I'm thinking he probably became the all-time home run later.
And Eddie Murray a second.
Oh, geez. Yeah. What if that's something, Connor? What if Eddie Murray never left Baltimore? That would be strange. Would he be like him and Cal playing neck and neck and home run, leaders?
Probably. It's nice that he came back, right?
Yeah.
And he hit number 500 in Baltimore. I think it's you can not remember that he left sometimes, especially if you're of a certain age where you weren't maybe like fully aware back in the 80s and 90s. You have the vision of Eddie as a young Oriole, and you have the vision of Eddie hitting number 500 as an Oriole, and your brain just connects that and says he was an Oriole his whole career. Unfortunately, that was not the case. There was the weird Dodgers time, and then of course where he went in between as well. But it was nice that he came back. But yeah, I think he'd probably be a little closer if he hadn't left in the middle.
It's funny. He was a Met for a while, Eddie Murray, and I heard Tim McCarver calling his like 400 home run, and I'm like, that sounds really weird. I'm sorry. I came down here from New York in 1987, and the Orioles and Eddie Murray and Cal are still here. And to me, hearing Tim McCarver going, that's number 400 for Eddie Murray, I'm like, why are you wearing a Met uniform and what's going on here? What's the deal? I was like, it doesn't look right. It's like I thought of him as an Oriole for my whole life.
He's probably one of the better players to ever play for 5+ teams. If you really broke it down, especially when the further you go back, the closer you get to a time when there wasn't free agency and the best players, maybe played for 2 teams tops. And so you look at Hall of Famers who played for 5 teams. Granted, like he was in Anaheim I'm looking up his baseball reference page. He was in Anaheim for 46 games. So it's like guy gets to his 40s, he gets signed by a team for 1 year. But yeah, it's 5 teams in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And to still be a Hall of Famer is different than a career arc than a lot of guys back then took.
Yeah. Adam, you have a question for
Yeah, so with all the signings that have gone on with Baltimore in the offseason, after what happened last year, you think that the Orioles can contend for the playoffs and perhaps maybe get an AL East title away from Toronto and Boston and New York?
The toughest part is the division. You could make an argument 4 of the 5 best teams in the American League might be in the East. I think you make a strong argument that Seattle might be the other of those 5 best teams in the American League, but Toronto, New York, Boston, Baltimore, the way the Orioles have spent this offseason, that's tough. You look at all the projections. I think most people think there's a legitimate shot that with the extra wild card now, that the AL East might get 4 teams into the postseason, that they might have the winner and all 3 wild cards might go to the East. So I am kind of separating winning the AL East with having postseason success this year, because I think the goal should just be to get into the postseason. Yeah. Obviously, if you win the East, it's great. You're probably going to get that first bye, avoid the wild card, but it's going to be so tough in the East. Just be one of the teams that gets in. Just be one of the teams that gets in. There's going to be good teams in the wild card. Be one of those, and hopefully you can find your way to make a playoff run. I think they have the talent, and it also helps because, if this were 5-6 years ago when you play your divisional opponents 19 times, that would have been rough. But since they've cut it to 13 times you play in your division, you just get a few more games around the league. You get to play the Rockies. Not every year did you used to get to play the Rockies. Now you get to play the Rockies and some of these other teams. You're always going to play the Nationals, but you'll play the Marlins and some of these other teams in the NL that should help you out a little bit. Where yes, they'll beat up on each other, but they'll probably also collectively beat up on some of the weaker teams in baseball, and hopefully you can get to 88, 89 wins, and that's at least plenty to get a wild card.
Yeah. And it's like, when I heard the news that Pete Alonso was signing with the Orioles, I was like, wait a minute. The Baltimore Orioles are actually doing something in the offseason? And it's like last year, it was like they didn't really do anything in the offseason in years before, but they didn't have, they took Pete Alonso, who was a sensational star with the New York Mets. They brought him south, and it's like, I think he can hit at least 35 homers, probably maybe drive in 90 or more RBIs. It's like him and Jackson Holiday. you got a lot of young kids on that team. I wouldn't count out Baltimore this year making the playoffs. I think they got the team that can do it.
Yeah, it's a fun lineup. They've reinforced the starting rotation. I think there's still a question there. I think there's probably still a question in the bullpen because Felix Bautista is going to miss all this year. They did spend on Ryan Helsley, another former Met, although not nearly as much success, obviously, in a Met uniform for him last year. We in Baltimore, we're trying to just erase the half season of New York from his Baseball Reference and Fangraphs page and just look at all the numbers from St. Louis, which were incredible because that was a little rough. I'm sure, Chris, as you know, down the stretch last year with Ryan Helsley. But there's some questions there. Yeah, on the mound.
We picked this guy up thinking he's like, oh, he's like savior to our bullpen, and all of a sudden, like, what the heck happened to you? Like, seriously, dude?
Somebody just didn't like being at Citi Field or something.
He pitched well against us in Busch Stadium during the doubleheader weekend, and I'm like, okay, this guy looks pretty good. And then everybody we picked last year kind of just after the deadline just went in the toilet. It was just terrible. And then I was really upset when we lost to the Marlins, and then the Brewers actually beat the Reds, and I'm like, thank you, Milwaukee, thank you. Yeah, and then like we just couldn't score a run, and I just remember sitting in my girlfriend's garage just watching the Ravens game going. And she's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, don't even ask. I just wanted to like go outside and scream, like what the heck is going on here?
And that's one of the reasons, right? That Pete Alonso's in Baltimore, at least not in New York, because they seemed like they were pretty open to kind of shaking up what was in that clubhouse with trading away Nimmo and letting Diaz walk and letting Alonso walk and to the Orioles' benefit. And who knows? I mean, the Mets have also made some awesome moves, but I don't know we're here to talk about the Orioles. I just think it'll be maybe a nice pairing for both sides. Maybe Pete needed a new place to go, and hopefully in Baltimore it'll be nice. It is odd for an Orioles team that has been so analytically driven under Mike Elias for the first big contract to go to a first baseman who's over the age of 30. Those aren't generally the guys that if you never spend, you're going to spend on. But I think it's a showing that the O's just said, look, now they tried to give the money to Kyle Schwarber too. I think he just used them to get more money from the Phillies. But when they turned to Pete Alonso, he was willing to take that deal. And the Mets weren't looking to bring him back in the same way the Phillies were with Schwarber. And I think it'll help the Orioles clubhouse. It'll help their power. The Orioles home run leader had 17. They did not have a single person hit even 20 home runs last year. So you get Alonso in here, you can expect 30 plus. Right. It's going to be a difference maker.
Like I said, I think he can. Stories about how they didn't even offer him a contract. The Mets did. I'm like, excuse me, he's the all-time home run king in Mets franchise history, and you didn't even want to offer him a contract. You just told him like, see you later, Chief. Have a great day. And then I heard the Orioles did a great presentation during the winter meetings, and he was like, all right, I'll go with you guys. I'm like seriously? Like what did they sell him in that meeting? Because you got Crab. You got the right field port, the flag court, and then you got the new scoreboard building up in Camden Yards, out in center field. They got a new entertainment center where the old press box used to be. Like, what did you give them? Like, here's the key from Dodge Ford, from Bob's, Bob, Davison or whatever. Who's your sponsor? It's funny, like how he just like, oh, son, right here, and he'd send me a message going, guess who's at the Orioles? I'm like, are you serious? Yeah. And I'm like, crazy.
I think more than a presentation, although there was reports that Craig Albernaz, the new manager, was a big part of that meeting and kind of convinced Pete. But I will say the stronger pool than whatever PowerPoint they put together was probably $155 million. If I had to guess, that was probably the number one thing. And they could have presented anything because I don't think anyone else offered Pete $155 million this offseason.
No. No. And I hope he learned a lot from Keith Hernandez at first base. So hopefully he, does a really good job down here because I heard Keith was helping him out up there, be a better first baseman. So hopefully he learned something. I know he threw. I knew he last year. Pete threw a couple of bad balls in the stands against the Yankees, and that was like, oh God, seriously. That was just a bad. When you turn the spin, you don't see anything. But I just think you'll be fine down here. It's just for me being a Met fan, I'm not used to seeing him in the blue and the black and orange. I'm like, what's wrong with this pitcher? It's just weird.
Well, Chris, at least it's.
It's at the Red Sox, so that's a good thing.
Hey,
Anyway, Connor, sorry I went on my little rant there. I apologize. So what do you think about spring training starting up later this week? I guess they got games going on, and then they got the World Baseball Classic, and then you got injuries with Holiday and Westberg, out on the shelf, for a little bit. That's not a good way to start spring training.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice that games will start on Friday, right? You have something to watch. Masson's broadcasting more games than they ever have, which is
from home.
Is nice to see.
I heard that.
Yeah. I will say, it's so funny because the Holiday injury comes on the same day. Basically, we learned that Corbin Carroll and Francisco Lindor have the same injury, and I'm starting to feel about that hamate bone like I feel about the appendix. Like, can we just get it out when we're born, and so it doesn't become an issue because it doesn't really do any. I'm sure the hamate bone probably does more than the appendix does, but man, is it taking baseball players onto the shelf for no reason essentially. They heard it swinging. Like, it's not he got hit in the hand by a fastball. It's one of those bones that just the reverberations of a swing, it's so tiny and brittle that it'll just break or fracture. And luckily for that, the recovery time is pretty set for that injury. It's like 6 to 8 weeks. You get the surgery, you're back, and you're usually good to go. So I'm happy it happened in February and not March or April, because Holiday might only miss 2 weeks of the season, 3 weeks of the season, then be ready to go in April. Honestly, the more concerning one is Westberg. They're talking about him being okay for opening day, but he's just been so injured the past year and a half, and obliques, anything in the core, everything you do on a baseball field involves your core. And so when you get some sort of injury there, you just worry that the effects could linger. And for a guy that's been a little injury prone already, that one probably worries me a little bit more. So, Kobe Mayo's still in the mix. They traded for Blaze Alexander. Those are both guys who could play third base and can fill in there if Jordan Westberg does have to miss some time. So we'll see. I'm really excited for this year's spring training because not only did the Orioles have an exciting offseason, you get to see these guys, but I love the World Baseball Classic. I think it's cool that there's some Orioles playing in it. It's awesome that Gunnar Henderson's playing for Team USA. It's going to be weird watching him presumably play second base for Team USA, which is something he did very, very briefly a couple of years ago and didn't look very graceful over there. So we'll see how that goes and if they want to make some changes there. But I think the WBC is nice because it starts in early March, and early March is the time when the excitement of the spring training games starts to wear off, and you're still 3 or 4 weeks from opening day, and you realize that, wow, most of these spring training games are guys that are just going to be in AA in a couple of weeks, and they're doing the same thing over and over every day, and the games don't matter. So as soon as you start to get tired of spring training games, boom, the WBC hits, and they're games that matters, and that takes you for 2 weeks, and the WBC ends, and you only got like a week or 10 days till opening day. So it'd be awesome if that happened every year, but I understand you want to make it special. You don't want to have to make guys do this every single season. So I am definitely excited for that.
Yeah,
Same.
That's true. Well, Connor, I appreciate you joining us tonight, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. Get ready for some baseball on Friday, and we'll talk to you down the road.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me on.
All right, man. See you. Bye. All right, that's Connor Newcomb, who does a lot on Orioles online. So, folks, if you are tuning us in on Twitter or on Facebook, please send us a message. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions for the show, you can email us at herbfmradio@gmail.com. Before we bring in this next guest, we got to fill you in the expense. We talked about Frederick coming back to being in the Orioles affiliate. Let's play a quick news clip from last year from Channel 9 in D.C. talking about it.
Baseball fans in Maryland got some exciting news today. Big news.
Really major. After a hiatus, the minor league team in Frederick has a partnership with a major league franchise again. DC News Now Stephen Cohen tells us about the move and what it means for players and spectators as well.
The future of Frederick's professional baseball team, the Keys, has been in limbo since it lost its affiliation with the Major League Baltimore Orioles in 2020. But some rousing news for baseball fans in the region. The O's and the Keys, named for Frederick native Francis Scott Key, have renewed their partnership. Slater Fuchs works in the Keys front office.
This community really has been clamoring for an affiliated team.
Richard Roberts is with Attain Sports, the group behind the deal that was announced Friday.
Frederick is one of the best baseball towns in America. The parents have brought their kids here, they brought their grandparents here, and they've come as young throughout the years. So this is a great baseball community.
This ballpark is really a ballpark where people come out, memories are made.
Under the new arrangement with the Orioles, the Aberdeen Ironbirds, the Class A franchise outside of Baltimore, will play ball at Harry Grove Stadium here come this spring. In Frederick, Stephen Cohen, DC News Now.
All right. So speaking of the Keys, they're going to get set for their first season back as the affiliate of the Baltimore Orioles, and we have Gus Baylow, who's the gentleman who'll be behind the mic calling that game. So hi, Gus. How you doing?
Hey guys, appreciate you having me on, and I hope you can hear me okay.
You're all good. All good, Gus. All good.
There you go. It's good to see you guys. Hope you guys are doing well. I appreciate you having me on, and that clip kind of tells it all. We're back in affiliation, so we're super excited to go back as the high A affiliate of the Orioles beginning on April 3rd. So we're super excited and looking forward to it. But I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, talk about that. They moved from Aberdeen back to Frederick, and when Frederick lost the affiliate, they moved from Frederick to Aberdeen. So it's basically going backwards.
It really is. Yeah, we were fortunate in that situation. Obviously, I've only been with the team for a couple of years, so I really didn't know too much about it until I got here. And yeah, we're kind of doing a flip flop. So the Ironbirds will be in the MLB Draft League, which I still think is a great opportunity for them. Because the draft league is a league that I have a lot of respect for. Obviously, being in it for 2 years, you get to see kind of everything about it. So it's a great league still, and we obviously wish them the best. And then obviously for us, we're super excited. This community, you guys probably know more than I do, but this community really loves affiliated baseball, and the fact that it's with the Orioles is really great. So we're super excited, and we're ready to go for me, I guess, April 3rd, for the team, April 3rd, and then for our fans, April 14th is first game.
Yeah, talk about what they did to the stadium. I drove out there before the winter came, and looked like there's a lot of construction going on. So I guess they expanded the clubhouse and the batting cages, and they built a new booth. And,
absolutely. There's a lot of construction there, obviously. So we'll have new player facilities, new clubhouses, new locker room spaces. We'll have a little bit of expanded concourse that will be, beneath the RSA above the clubhouses. So yeah, really exciting doing times at the stadium, and it's been pretty much action packed. We finished up, I'll never forget, we finished up on September 3rd last season, and literally the next day they were moving. So it's been pretty much, they were working during the season last year, but not to the full extent. And that's just because we had a season going on, so they couldn't. But now that there's no baseball going on, or really the last 6-7 months, we've really been able to, they've been able to make a lot of progress. So we're super excited. I think the fans are going to be excited, and obviously our players, the players who will be coming through, I'm sure will be really excited.
Yeah. Adam, you have a question?
Yeah. So I've been looking at your schedule, and you guys do play two teams that I'm quite familiar with: the Greenville Drive. And also the Astral Tourists, and so just talk about facing those two teams. And I know you guys are playing Brooklyn and Wilmington, so I'm assuming you guys are playing in the South Atlantic League.
We are. That's exactly right. Yeah. So you got it right. You got it right, my friend. Yeah, we're playing. We're in a great league. The South Atlantic League's a really good league. We were in the Carolina League when we were last affiliated. It's a little bit different this time, but it's a really good league. We go as far north as Hudson Valley and as far south as Rome, Georgia. So there's a lot of great teams in the league. There's a lot of great, players in the league, obviously, and all the affiliates are, Northeast affiliates. So our first home game will be against Hudson Valley, who of course is the high of the Yankees. Brooklyn Cyclones, will play them the week of July 4th at home, and they obviously won the league last year, and I'm sure they're going to be very good again this year. And there's a lot of good baseball. Obviously, Greenville Drive, as you guys mentioned, but we'll play them. They'll come to us, I believe, in May, and then we go there in July. And obviously that field, I've been there once before. It's a beautiful stadium, so we're super excited to go there. But it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great league, really good baseball, and I'm really excited to dive in, really, especially with the next probably 5 weeks as we get ready for our first game, really diving into the rosters of these other teams, and just super excited to get after it. So a lot to be done between now and then, but we're super excited.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You got the Brooklyn Cyclones, who used to be in the New York Penn League, along with Hudson Valley and all this. So it's pretty cool to see those teams move up to the high A. I don't know why it never worked out in Aberdeen. I think the problem with Aberdeen was I think Harford County is not used to baseball in April.
Yeah. I don't know too much about that situation. Obviously, like I said, I've only been here a couple of years, and I'm not sure exactly the whole situation. Obviously, we wish them the best, and I still think Aberdeen's a great baseball community. It still is, and the draft league, go back to that point, it's still a great league, and there's a lot of really good players in that league, a lot of good teams in that league. There's a lot of really good people on the front offices, and I got to travel, and I'll still get to travel this year. And I got to travel to all the teams in our draft league, and there's a lot of really good people who run those teams, and it's a really good league for young players to come through and get the experience of making the climb before they move on to hopefully the draft. And we were fortunate in my 2 years. We had I think 12 guys. 9 from the first half roster this year drafted, which was great. And so, yeah, it's, we wish them the best, and we'll be rooting for them, obviously, as we'll be rooting for them and the draft league as they start up. I believe June 3rd is their first game, if I'm not mistaken. But they should have a good team. I'm sure they'll have a good team this year.
Yeah, I just feel like, to me, a kid from Harford County, like it worked when it was like June, July, and August and September because everybody's out of school and nobody has warmer evenings, and that ballpark, Ripken Stadium, was packed when I first were there in the New York Penn League, and then seeing film last year, like, where is everybody?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. You guys mentioned about the New York Penn League. It's pretty much a New York Penn League reunion. Every team in that league, minus the Thunder, we're all in the New York Penn League. So,
right,
and obviously Trent is as good of a team as ever, in terms of their market, especially. So. Yeah, it's a good league, and I'm sure that the Ironbirds are excited to be, kind of back with some familiar teams, like the, Crosscutters, the Spikes, the Black Bears, all the other teams in that league, and the Scrappers as well, and then the other teams too. So it's a really good league, and like I said, we wish them, all the best, and maybe I think they play a couple Mondays, so maybe I'll shoot up there for a Monday game. We'll see.
Yeah, you guys are off on Mondays. It's funny. It's like
we are.
Yeah, the new schedule now. It's like they have Monday and off, and you guys play Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, maybe a 6-game series, and then you have Monday off, and then you go. It's like a weird schedule now.
It is. Yeah, the schedule is different, and you could argue that. I want to say it's easier than the draft league in terms of just the game out of games, because it's a lot more games. I mean, guys, you're going from 80 games to 132. That's a big jump, especially for someone like myself who is going to be traveling all the time, with the team. And that's 50 more games 52 more that I'm doing. So that's a lot more. But yeah, we start out on we'll play the same team 6 times in a row. So that's going to be a change. We'll also, like you said, we'll have off days Mondays. That's standard across minor league baseball across the board. And that's, usually for a lot of times it's your travel day. So there are a couple of times where we'll actually be like our first series, for example. We start out April 3rd against Hub City in Spartanburg, South Carolina. We go there. Yep, we go there for 3 days. And then we have an off day to travel to Winston-Salem to take on the Dash in Wake Forest. That's where Wake Forest is, but Winston-Salem, North Carolina for 6. So that's going to be a difference. But I actually think staying in one place for a week actually makes, you could argue, life a lot easier, especially in a travel sense. You're not going to 2 different places in a week and all that. So, I'll be curious to see what that's like on our first road trip here in about 7 weeks.
Right.
And I'll make sure that.
Go ahead.
And I'll make sure that North Carolina has warm weather. North and South Carolina has warm weather when you guys.
I think I saw on socials today. It looked like there was a game going on tonight at Hub City. It looked like some college baseball.
It's South Carolina versus Wofford.
Yeah, Wofford and South Carolina, and that's it's great they do that. We actually, when I was in college at the University of Kansas, I guess it was 3 years ago, we actually went down to Greenville and played in a tournament. I think it was against Western Carolina. And Michigan State, and that field's great. So it's a great facility. Both facilities are great. Obviously, Hub City's is brand new. I'm kind of like ours a little bit. Their stadium is really nice. So yeah, it's going to be a first couple. It's definitely some good road trips.
I think you're talking about Floor Field.
Yes, Floor Field, exactly.
Yes. Greenville. Yeah. Okay, since you're a since you graduated from the University of Kansas, I gotta ask. Have you had? Did you get a chance to go to any Kansas Jayhawk games at historic Allen Fieldhouse?
I did, yeah. I was fortunate. My 4 years, I got to actually call some games on student radio, so I did do that, and but did go to a couple of games as a fan. It's funny you ask. I was actually we had the long holiday weekend for President's Day, and I actually flew back out there for the weekend. I flew out Saturday, came back last night late. So, yeah, it's a great place. Lawrence is a special place. I love Lawrence, Kansas, and Allen Fieldhouse is certainly a big part of that, and we're obviously very fortunate that we have that, and obviously the team is playing pretty well right now, so it's pretty exciting.
That's cool. Well, Gus, I hope to talk to you during the season, and I hope I can make a trip out there to Frederick.
Well, love to see you guys, and hopefully all the fans out there. We're super excited for April 3rd. Obviously for home opener April 14th, and we hope to see everyone there. And this year is going to be a really exciting year, and I know that we have a lot of things planned that our fans are going to be really excited about. So I appreciate you guys, and I hope to see you at a game.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys.
I see you. Bye. All right. That's Gus Baylow, who does the voice of the Frederick Keys, and they open their season at home April 14th. So hopefully it'll be a nice weather.
Yeah.
Definitely. Anyway, Adam, you want to bring this next guest?
Sure. So over the weekend, our next guest had to face. He and his team faced the Missouri Tigers out of the SEC, and they didn't have.
Well, they did well in the first game. They won the first game, and in the second game.
Well, they did win the first game, but then Missouri,
Yeah, but they won today.
They took care of business, but joining us now to talk about the first weekend and look ahead to the rest of the season is the head coach of Mount St. Mary's, Frank Leoni, is joining us. So, Coach, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and just talk about facing a good SEC team in the Missouri Tigers, to start off your season.
Well, first of all, Chris, Adam, thanks for having me back. I figured after Sunday's score, you probably cancel on me.
No.
My dad's a huge baseball guy like I am, and I text him the score. It's 34-3, and he goes, "Is that a football score?" I was like, "No, Dad." And he goes, "I said, Dad, that's a baseball score." He goes, "What happened?" I'm like, I'll ask him Tuesday night on the program. That's the question, because I was looking at all these games over the weekend, like not your game, but another game was, I think Wagner lost to Virginia 31-0 or something like that. I'm like, okay, first of all, why did they go all 9 innings? That's the question, because I thought they would be like after 16-5, you'd be like, I'm going home now. Can we just get on the plane?
Yeah, well, our field goal kicker was able to put us in front 3-0, and then our D-backs kind of blew the coverage at the rest of the game there. So no, it's just one of those things, right? Like we played so well in the first 2 games. Obviously beat them on Friday, and if not for kind of a crappy call by yours truly in the second game, probably win the series. We lost that second game 5-4. We had first and third one out in the 9th, and just didn't work out in our favor. But bottom line, we put up a good fight, and then Sunday, our best player rolls over a ground ball to the second baseman. The guy hit the grand slam on Friday to win the game, rolls over on a ground ball to second base, and then pulls his hamstring running to first base. So that was kind of like a collective, crash in our dugout with our guys. They kind of feed off his energy. And then quite honestly, I think we did a lousy job of protecting our pitches. I think they were picking off what pitches we were throwing, and they just got rolling, and they're an SEC team. You give them an inch and they're going to, squash you. And that's exactly what they did to us on Sunday. So, hats off to those guys for doing what they're, probably what they should do to most mid-major teams. Right. Mm-hmm. But what I learned from our team, I thought we were pretty good going into the weekend. And then I quickly found out that we're going to be able to stand toe to toe with anybody. anybody in the country, I think. But at the same time, we could have a stinker like we did on Sunday too. So we've got to be very mindful of that and take care of business moving forward. And then, and it was good today, right? Like we didn't think we were going to play today. We thought we probably wouldn't play. And then at the last second, we were able to, get, Prince George's Community College was kind enough to let us play there. And, we played pretty well. There was some moments there today where I wasn't too happy with the guys, but all in all, we came out of it today. It was good to get a win after what happened on Sunday. And Sunday was a long day, guys.
Yeah.
Like we not only played that game that went on forever, then when our flight got delayed and we didn't get back to campus until after 3 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
Monday morning.
Oh, wow.
And then we have to turn around, go to class, and then, get ready for the game today. So, but the guys did it. They hung in there and hats off and credit to our guys for staying tough. And, now we're back to even again, so to speak. And now we're going to see if we can try to play these games this weekend against UMass.
Yeah.
So,
I have that, the folks from your Twitter page got that home run the other night. The one that you guys had that grand slam in the 9th inning. It's a pretty decent. Cool. That's a shot right down the pipe.
Yeah,
to me, it's like that's where I love it right there. Put it right there in my basket right there, and then gone.
Yeah. And I don't know if this video is going to capture everything. Another guy sent me a video, and he caught our guys, celebrating in front of the dugout, and it was just electric. It really was. And you can't hear all the fans. Like we had a lot of fans at the game, and the place just exploded. That pitch, we have TrackMan at the games too. And I'm pretty sure the pitch was 92 and it was 112 off the bat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a rocket.
Yeah.
That's a rocket.
Yeah. So pretty good stuff.
So you bounced back today, beating Coppin State. We had Coach Reed on last week. I guess they didn't play last weekend because I guess everything was all wishy-washy because they were supposed to play their series against Lafayette. I guess they postponed the whole weekend.
Yeah, and unfortunately, a lot of these fields here in Maryland, right? Like they won't plow the turf. They don't want to, damage the turf, I guess, by moving the snow off of it. So everyone's had to kind of wait for things to melt. And this is, I'm from Rhode Island originally, and I haven't seen a winter like this in 21 years. This is like being a little kid again, and missing school for 3 weeks, with the amount of snow, and then it just doesn't want to melt. But it's funny, this morning before we left our campus, our outfield was almost completely melted at this point.
Oh, wow.
So I feel pretty good. We've got some pretty good mounds of snow because we did plow our turf. We just got to get that off the field, and God willing, we won't get all the rain they're talking about. From Thursday through Friday is supposed to be quite a bit of rain. So hopefully we miss some of that stuff.
Yeah, hopefully. I think this time of year is like a crapshoot for baseball around here. You don't know. Like the last couple of years, we didn't have this blizzard. The blizzard we had back in January. We only had a couple of inches, and you guys were playing in February last year or last couple. Mm-hmm. This year, it's like now you're like, I got to wait till middle of March to do this. What's the deal?
I always like to remind people that we've decided to play a spring sport in the winter.
Right.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah.
It's a little insane. It's like you being from Rhode Island. I guess it was like your childhood was like saying, "Can't forget about me," and I was like, I live here in North Carolina, and it's like a lot of people don't realize. Yes, it does snow here in North Carolina, and it's like being from New Hampshire. It's like snow is nice as a kid. As an adult, no, thank you. It's like shoveling and ice melt and all this, all like. As soon as February 13th got here, I was like, now maybe all the snow and cold can go away and I can concentrate on college baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. The snow, we always just have a saying where I grew up, like the snow was great if it was Christmas and the holidays, and that's it. And then you want it to go away.
That's true. Yep.
Right. Right now, it's like, I'm done with it. I'm like I'm driving around. I went to Harford County today, and everywhere you go, there's big piles of water everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like I hope I don't get down to 32 tonight because we'll have a nice slip and slide with the school bus.
When we were walking out to get on our bus after the game today, I was trying to find a route to get to the bus without walking through like mud, just mud everywhere. It was crazy.
Yeah. I was looking at the forecast. It looks like it's supposed to be, hopefully this is what the weather, it's supposed to be rain on Thursday, light rain on Friday, but hopefully, it's 52 on Saturday, and then you got the cold front coming in again. I'm like, good God, seriously? Back to 37. It's like, we can't keep a break for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a roller coaster ride, right? It's all because of that little rat that saw his shadow and jumped back in that hole, right?
Hey, thank you. Thank you, Coach.
That's right.
Just kidding. I did it last year as a joke, and somebody said that's not cool. I'm like, oh, come on.
Have fun with it. I mean, it's like,
But it's funny. Speaking of those, the groundhog. There's always these different people in this different area. That like today, I think I saw on Groundhog's Day there was somebody here in Baltimore. Like it was like Larry the Rodent. I'm like, are you serious? Like, or like different towns have their own weather people. I'm like, I'm like, okay, you guys have too much time on your hands. Enough. Yeah.
I just wish William the weatherman would get it right at this point. That's all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think the best job in the world is the weather guy.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh, I mean, it's the you can be awful at your job and make tons of money. Sure.
Right. You just go, oh, we didn't see the storm front coming in.
Exactly.
And, my brother was telling me.
My bad.
Yeah. My brother was telling me a story when we were kids growing up here in Maryland. It was like supposed to be like, it was a blizzard. It was not supposed to be a blizzard. And the weather guy screwed up. And my brother came home from college that night. He goes, dude, we're going to get nailed by 8 to 10 inches of snow. Let's get the snowblower going. He was right. The guy was wrong, and he still has his job. So it's like, okay.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Exactly.
I mean, it's crazy, but at least college baseball season is here.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like the road to Omaha, gets going for teams like you guys. And it's like, I know, a lot of people may not realize this, but a lot of teams like you guys, they go south to Florida or Texas or places like that to start the season because of the weather. So it's like, I know you have your home opener soon. So it's like, you're ready for warm weather like I am.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, guys, I meant to tell you this. We actually turned a triple play today.
Oh, cool!
Congratulations!
And an around the horn triple play too.
Oh wow, that's hard.
Ooh.
That's hard to do.
Yeah, it really is.
It's not like once in baseball, like the guy drops the pop up, throws to second base, and then throws home and get the guy, and then that's your triple play. But it's like, but that's cool. Around the horn, I haven't seen that. I think the Mets did it. I think the Mets did it a couple of years ago.
I think they did too.
It's hard to do. It's hard to do.
Yeah, it's really hard. It was our third baseman Ty Fredo's really athletic. The ball was hit right to him. He ran and stepped on third, and he made like this off balance throw to second. And our second baseman did an unbelievable job getting rid of the ball to first. We just barely got the guy at first base, but it was awesome.
Oh wow,
it was really cool. Wow. And how about college baseball so far this weekend? I don't know if you guys have watched any of the other things that happened.
I have. Yeah, it's college.
Electric, right? Like the viewership with fans is way up, and it's really cool to watch it all at this point.
Yeah,
it's so honored to be a part of it.
It's called. I don't know if you saw this, Chris. But last weekend at Baylor, there was a guy.
I saw that 3 grand slams in a game.
Yeah.
I sent the picture to my brother in a video. I'm like, you don't see that in Major League Baseball.
No.
3 grand slam in one game. That guy.
No.
I guess maybe the picture from, and it's funny. It was New Mexico State who were supposed to be playing Towson this weekend out of New Mexico. So I should text Coach. Tyner and said, make sure you have that pitcher come in. Maybe you hit 3 grand slams in that
game. I'll tell you what, I've played at New Mexico State twice in my career.
Yeah.
That place is really hard to play in. I mean, it's 4,000 feet above sea level.
Ooh.
The ball, it's like balls take off there. You think it's like you're at a driving range. The balls just like disappear. It's crazy there.
So what do you do when you get out there? You get there, if you play this Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you get out there tomorrow, right?
Yeah, they'd probably go out on Thursday, I would think. Go out Thursday.
Used to it, right?
Yeah, a little bit. They'd probably get in there. Well, I mean, they're going across the country like that. They'd probably have to leave really early to be able to practice the day before. So you're right. They might have to leave Wednesday just so they could practice Thursday. But it just, a lot of schools, kind of don't like to do that just because they don't want to miss that much class. But I don't know where Towson is with their academic calendar. Maybe they're on spring break this week or something like that. So
I just came back from their baseball dinner end of January, and we were just talking to everybody there, and it's fascinating. All these people, they're like, "Oh, we went to New Mexico State a couple years ago. We enjoyed it." I'm like, "Okay." All right.
It's actually really cool. It's Las Cruces, New Mexico. It's right on the border. And actually, we flew into El Paso when we went there.
Okay.
And then you drive, it's like a 3-hour drive across to get to Las Cruces. And you literally drive right along the side of the Rio Grande. And
very nice.
You see clear into Mexico, and you can see some people running around in the desert over on that side and everything. But, this was years ago. I think I was there in 2003 and 2004. Back when I was at URI, but yeah, it's a neat place, and you talk about incredible Mexican food, like the best you've ever had. And I'm not a big Mexican fan, but my hope to be new girlfriend told me that she loves Mexican, so I've got to get myself going here with some Mexican food. But maybe I need to take her to Las Cruces. I don't know.
I've been invited to go to El Paso because we know the Sun Bowl president, down there, and he said, like, anytime you want to go to El Paso, I'm like, okay. I'm thinking like,
I'll go to El Paso.
I have the funds to do it. But it seems like a nice place to go.
Yeah.
It seems like it.
El Paso is a little weird. I mean, we only flew in and out of there, but it seemed a little distraught there. But Las Cruces was different. Las Cruces was like a small community, a college town, right? So it definitely had some character to it for sure.
That's cool. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, Coach Frank, I hope you have a great weekend. Hopefully the weather guys will hold off until Sunday night with the snow or whatever the heck is coming here. So hopefully then we get rid of that. And you guys can play baseball from now until May.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope so. Thank you guys again for having me. I always enjoy doing this.
All right. We'll keep in touch, okay?
All right. Yeah, you bet, Chris. See you, Adam.
All right. See you. Bye.
Bye. Coach.
All right. That's our good friend from Mount St. Mary's, Coach Frank Leoni, joining us.
Yes.
He'll be home against UMass this weekend. If you want to join us, join them 2:00 up there in Emmitsburg, Maryland. Speaking of Maryland, if you've been watching the Olympics, Adam and I had an opportunity to talk to one of the bobsledders, Maryland. And if you want to go to our page, that's the link. If you want to watch our interview we did with Bethesda, Maryland native and U.S. bobsledder Carson Venanting.
Viscering.
So it was a really good conversation. If you want to,
I agree. A lot of fun.
I learned a lot about that.
Yeah. Now, hey, Chris. Now you know what they say: "Go west, young man." So we're going to Arizona.
Yes, and we're going to be talking with our good friend from John Frisch from the Super Halo Brothers, who they do also the Lock On Sports for Lock On the Angels. So, hi, John. How you doing? And welcome to the East Coast. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, guys. Thank you for having me on. And yeah, it's let's see, 6:30 over here. So you guys are in the future. Doing a little time travel here.
Yeah, we're always in the future in this area. Yeah. So let's talk about the Angels. They got a new manager. They got new everything. Yeah, you still have Mike Trout still there, and is Mike Trout ever going to be playing a playoff game?
Man, I really wish he would get that opportunity, honestly, Chris. Look, it's been an off season of 1-year deals, 1-year timelines. Kurt Suzuki, 1-year manager, right? And so, here in Southern California and fans of the Angels feel like Artie Moreno is just anticipating a lockout, and the evidence is there. His GM has 1 year left on his contract, and again, Kurt Suzuki hired for 1 year. He's got options. The team has options on his contract, right? But it's just everything points to Artie Moreno as an owner anticipating a lockout and not wanting to pay guys through the off season because he doesn't know what's going to happen, next year and into next year, if there's even going to be a season in 2027. And so any of the new players they've taken on, they've all been 1-year deals. And if they haven't been 1-year deals. It's been a trade like for Grayson Rodriguez or for Josh Lowe, guys who, are controllable and don't cost a lot of money right now. But again, you read between the lines, you look at the evidence, it feels like Artie is one of probably many owners anticipating a lockout. And so it's frustrating. I really believe Trout deserves better, especially signing that extension that he did in 2019, thinking that, they were actually going to do something. They had just brought in Ohtani. They still had Pujols on the team. They, had a pretty decent offense, but they never signed any starting pitching. And here we are, 7 years later, and we're still kind of waiting around for that starting pitching, if I'm being honest with you.
They're out there.
They're out there.
I mean, Framber Valdez is out there. Lucas Giolito is out there. And it's like, there are pitchers out there that I'm surprised that haven't signed with anyone. We're now in spring training. It's like, what are these pitchers waiting on and other players? It's like, are they waiting to like the first week of the regular season,
right,
or what? And it's like, you guys with the Angels, it's like you guys got to contend with the Seattle Mariners.
Yep.
And you guys have, the Texas Rangers, and I guess it's still weird for me to. I am gonna say it, the Sacramento Athletics,
right?
Even though it's still weird, to say, even though they're just called the Athletics, but but what are some keys for the Angels that they need to do in this offseason, to get into playoff contention?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, Adam, and I think some of the moves the Angels have made, or lack thereof, over the offseason, it wasn't the most exciting offseason. What I think was significant is bringing in a hitting coach like Brady Anderson, bringing in a pitching coach like Mike Maddox, who, coached the Rangers rotation to the best ERA in baseball last year. And I know they have DeGrom and Eovaldi, so, that's a little bit of a cheat code, but Mike Maddox is a winner as a pitching coach. And so I think the best thing they could have done, if they're not going to go out and spend money, if they're not going to go get those free agents that we all want on our team, I think the second best thing you can do is, all right, how do we raise the floor of the guys we already have, like a Reed Detmers, right, who's been around the Angels for a while. Last year, he went to the bullpen and just was electric out of the bullpen. He struggled his first couple of outings, and then from that point on, he was very, very good. So to come back to the rotation for Reed Detmers is something that we're all looking forward to, and I think Mike Maddox really raises the floor. The other side of the coin is the hitting, obviously, and the hitting, the Angels had the most strikeouts in MLB last year. They had the second most strikeouts of any team in recent modern baseball history. And it was also, their worst record in terms of strikeouts at the plate in their franchise history. So you bring in Kurt Suzuki, you bring in Brady Anderson, you bring in a lot of guys who are emphasizing contact and emphasizing the fundamentals. My brother and I on Locked On Angels, we like to call it boring fundamental baseball, in the sense that you're doing all the fundamental things right. You're moving runners over. You're getting the sacrifice fly. You have productive outs. And what the issue has been is that everybody was swinging for the fences last season. The Angels had the fourth most home runs in baseball, but they didn't make the playoffs. And I said this on our episode earlier today. Padres, I think, were 28th in baseball in terms of home runs, but they were in the playoffs. So, you tell me who's doing it right and who's doing it wrong.
I don't know, John. I don't know. It's like,
I don't know why the Orioles traded Grayson Rodriguez to you guys. That is so dumb, because the guy's injured. So what was Michael Elias trying to do here? Get rid of somebody? Yes, he got hurt. And when he was in the minor leagues, I said to somebody, like, don't mess around with somebody who's a fastball pitcher like that. You know, because when I was a kid growing up, there's some guy named Dwight Gooden who was blowing people away with the Mets, and then some guy named Mel Stottlemyre decided to mess around with his mechanics,
right,
and ruin who he was. And I feel like the Orioles did that too with Grayson, and now he's out on a fresh start in Anaheim with you guys. I don't even know if he's pitching this year because he's coming off an injury. So basically, the Angels have been sold to a player that may not suit up for him.
Yeah, he's coming into this season. He's going to be pitching in spring training. He's been throwing his bullpen sessions, throwing off a mound. What he has said is that the bone spurs in his elbow have been an issue since like his AA days in 2022, right? So for as good as he has been, he's been pitching with this, uncomfortable pain in his elbow from bone spurs. And pitchers get bone spurs and then they go and have them removed and things like that. Well, he finally got them removed in August. And he said that because he was compensating for the pain in his elbow with the bone spurs, that's what caused the lat injury, because it was, one area he's trying to compensate for and ends up being, your big lat muscle. And so he got the elbow cleaned up back in August of last year. The lat is healed. I know it was a big risk, but honestly, Chris, one thing that has been frustrating as an Angel fan is that the Angels, and you guys probably witnessed this with Shohei Ohtani, like they don't move the guys they ought to be moving when they're coming up on an expiring contract. So for them to actually move Taylor Ward, and believe me, like this front office, they love Taylor Ward. The fans love Taylor Ward, but he had 1 year left on his contract. So it makes sense to move him and get something that you really need, which was starting pitching. And so to finally do that and do it right, to move him for controllable starting pitching. And look, the Angels are not going to be, lighting the world on fire this year. So if Grayson needs a year where he's, working his way back, maybe he gets to 100 innings, maybe, he's working his way back and gets to 20 to 25 starts. He says he's ready to go pitch 30, which I appreciate, but I'm like, well, slow down there, guy. You didn't pitch last year. So, but I appreciate the enthusiasm. But all of that to say, if it doesn't go great this year, well, they've got him for 3 more years, which, man, if once he's good and ready and he's healthy, that's a frontline starter the Angels haven't had in a very long time. And I think you could say the same thing about Jose Soriano. I think that guy will have a great emergence to the front of a rotation this year. And I think Mike Maddox is going to go a long way in helping with that for sure.
Oh yeah. I do want to ask you one more question. For a long time, the Angels were on network television with it was Fox Sports. Now it has Bally's, but now the Angels are joining a number of other major league teams having their games being broadcast online. So so for fans that want to tune in, just talk about what the Angels have done going away from well, now it's called FanDuel, but
right.
Have them online.
The fact that we have to think about, like, what are they called these days? Like, doesn't that just, say the problem right there for all of this TV nonsense? But yeah, the Angels are doing, they're having MLB host their games. At the latest moment, they haven't officially asked MLB to like produce their games. They actually have an ownership stake in their regional sports network with FanDuel Sports, which is owned by Main Street. So there's a chance they could buy out the rest of that and have their own operate all of that themselves. At the end of the day, they will be online. You can watch them through the MLB app on your TV or your phone or your computer. And if you, of course, if you're not in the Southern California area or the market that they're in, you can, do MLB TV and get them that way. But look, it's so crazy that, what was it? 2011, they signed this crazy deal. And they weren't the only ones, right? You know, there were a lot of teams getting really great contracts for their TV rights. And, you know, hey, we'll pay you $20 billion over 20 years. Like, get out of here. You thought that you were going to have that money in 20 years from now. So all that to say, it's like, it's not a surprise that the RSN model has fallen apart. But at the same time, man, they really got, like, MLB needs to get it together and just make this easier on fans because, you know, we're watching them on MLB, which is great. Like, it's, you can pay, it's a la carte, and that's fine. And that's probably what we'll end up doing here. And, but on the other side of things, I mean, it's just MLB's a mess when it comes to TV rights and things like that, and blackouts and all of that stuff. I know that as the teams kind of jump back on board with MLB, I know some of those blackout restrictions go away, but it's just a mess, man. So just to keep it simple, you can watch the Angels for $100 for the season or $20 per month. So if you only want to watch the part of the season where they're exciting, which is like April and May and maybe some of June, and then you want to cancel your subscription after that, you can do that.
That's funny. That's funny. Well, John, I appreciate you joining us tonight. I hope you have a great rest of your week. And baseball starts on Friday with all the spring training games, and then you got the World Baseball Classic, and then you got the season starting at the end of March, and then we'll be playing until November. You know, that'll be good.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you guys having me on. And you know, for as pessimistic as you know, Angel fans can seem, just because things haven't gone well, I love baseball, dude. So I'll watch this team and I'll hope for the best every single night. But you know, it is what it is. And if this is the last season of baseball we get because, you know, owners and players are going to go to war for the CBA in the offseason, then I'm going to take every minute of baseball I can get. So I appreciate you guys and having me on. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Jim.
Okay.
Talk soon.
All right. See you. Bye.
Thanks, John.
All right, that's John Finch, who covers the Angels for Super Halo Brothers. When I first saw that, I thought it was like, is that a spinoff to Super Mario Brothers? Like,
that's what I was thinking. I was like,
yeah, I like that. That's awesome.
I like it. I was like, yeah.
So let's finish up our show here. Let's bring in a local flavor. So you want to bring them in?
Yeah. So our final guest of the night. Last year, he won the Centennial Conference Baseball Championship, and he got a win in the first round of the tournament. And he's got a huge target on his back because everyone in the Centennial Conference is coming after him. So joining us now to preview the 2026 season is the head coach of the reigning Centennial Conference. Our good friend, Coach Jim Carone, is joining us tonight. So, Coach, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and just talk about having a huge target on your back, knowing that everyone in the Centennial Conference is coming after you guys.
Well, thanks for having me. I think this was the 4th or 5th year we're able to do this with you guys. So thanks
Yes.
Thanks for that. No, I think, you know, we made the conference playoffs the last 2 years in a row. So obviously, you know, when we took over the program about 5 years ago, we were at the bottom, 9th or 10th place team. And, you know, to make the playoffs and host a home playoff game last year was really a lot of fun for our program and for our kids, and to have that kind of atmosphere on campus was pretty neat.
Yeah, talk about that playoff game. What does it mean for the campus? Because you have a playoff game, you know, in, you know, a playoff game pretty much on the campus, and a lot of people were like, oh, that's cool. You know, you probably had a big turnout.
It was a huge turnout. It was probably one of the nicest days of the entire spring. And, you know, there's a lot of other sports teams, you know, a lot of our other teams at McDaniel, football team, lacrosse team, basketball, men's and women's, and so on and so forth. They all came out to support us and to support our players. And it was one of those days that I hope our kids would never forget, you know, and strive to be back to, you know, hopefully host another playoff game this year coming up.
Yeah. Adam, you have another question?
Yeah, so obviously you guys are playing in the Ripken Experience in Myrtle Beach. So just talk about playing in that outstanding Division III tournament in South Carolina.
Yeah, absolutely, Adam. So we'll go down there for about a week. we'll get a workout day the first day we're down there. And then, Saturday and Sunday, I think we play a doubleheader. 1 game on Saturday, 2 games on Sunday against some teams from all over the country. Get an off day so our kids can enjoy, hopefully the nice weather in Myrtle Beach and, hit the golf course or the Tiger Woods golf thing they got, the putt thing they got going on down there, or enjoy time with their friends and family. And then we'll play, a few more games down there throughout the week, kind of work our way back up to Maryland, and with a trip at Salisbury, who's a top 10 team in the country this year. So we'll play them, and then we have a couple home games on the back end of the spring break trip. But the spring break trip really, we play baseball, we get the kids off campus, they get a lot of team bonding with each other, stay in a hotel for a few nights, eat good food, and just kind of they're on their own a little bit. I mean, we have some guardrails in place and where they need to be, and curfews and those type of things. But for the most part, they're eating a lot of meals on their own with each other, with their families. They're on the beach. They're playing flag football on the beach or two-hand touch football on the beach, and just really being kids. And that's what this is all about, kind of to step outside of, the state of Maryland for a few days and have some fun.
Yeah, I'm showing the baseball field. Hopefully the snow is finally gone from the field, hopefully. But what's it like playing on that field? It's on the campus, right?
Yeah, it's right on campus. Those are some really nice clips you guys have there. And you can see how well maintained it is. I mean, our grounds crew does a tremendous job. Our players and coaching staff do a great job of maintaining it on a daily basis. But we just resodded the infield in the fall, laser graded it. So, we try to have some different improvements around the ballpark every year, whether it's, batting cages or pitching mounds or the actual field surface. But over the years, we've been able to fundraise some money and have a great alumni group and a great parent group that helps us out with those things. So we're excited to play on that new infield surface starting hopefully next week. We'll see.
Yeah. This weekend you opened up against Bridgewater. That's down near James Madison University. Just going 81 south, a little bit further down. You guys played them last year down there. Got swept out of there. Is it a little revenge this weekend?
Yeah, we just take it one game at a time. We've been down there 2 or 3 times. I think every time we've played, it's been a sweep one way or the other. I think we swept them maybe 3 years ago, and we took a year off, and last year went down there and they got us pretty good. 3 close games. I think 2 out of the 3 were walk-offs that we lost. So, we compete with those guys. They were picked 3rd in the ODAC, which is probably the best Division III baseball conference in the country. So those guys have a good program. They're well coached. They have a lot of their team returning from what we saw last year, and we have a lot of our team returning as well. So it should be a good heavyweight match, I hope, this weekend.
Yeah. Adam, you have another question?
Yeah, so I never knew that Penn State had so many campuses like outside of what we know in State College. So you guys are playing Penn State Brandywine. I've never heard of them. So what will it be like to face a Penn State team on last weekend of February?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's quite a few branches of the Penn State campus, Brandywine being one of them. So it'll be good. I don't think we've played any Penn State teams in the last 4 or 5 years since we've been here. So this will be a good challenge for us to see what we're made of against a good baseball team with good history.
Yeah, I think they have Penn State York. I think that's one of them. I think there's one up in Scranton, because I drove. I was working another job. I drove around the whole state of Pennsylvania, so I saw them all. So I'm like, geez, there's a lot of them. Take your pick. But I think Brandywine is over near the Philadelphia area, so I think that's they're coming this way. But like you said, it's just here's Penn State, Adam, and it's like all these little subdivisions, pretty much.
Oh wow! I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a lot of. It's like when you see the word Penn State, you're thinking, oh, we're going to State College. And you're thinking, no, I'm going to York, Pennsylvania. Okay. I'm like, all right. Yeah, that's done.
Yeah, they're all over the place. I think next year's schedule we have one of the branches coming down as well. So 2 years in a row, we'll play 2 different branches of the Penn State campus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Talk about your players. Who's returning from last year's title run?
Yeah, I think we have a really good group of veterans coming back. You know, Ben Davis has been a first baseman, left-handed hitter. He tied the all-time home run record last year as a junior. So he's able to, with one more, I think he breaks it, the career home run record this year. So Ben comes back, and Shea McKenna has been a all-conference infielder for us. He was the conference rookie of the year 2 years ago when he was a freshman. Ethan Haddock has been a guy who's been in the lineup for the last couple of years. He's a dynamic hitter as an outfielder. Shane Daly's back for his 5th year. He's been an all-conference player. He was also the rookie of the year 4 years ago. Missed a year with an injury. So we have a pretty good group of guys coming back. From a position player standpoint, we only have 2 freshmen position players. So it's fun to go out to practice every day, and you have a lot of veterans out there, a lot of veteran leadership that, you know, kind of take the reins and make the coaching staff job easier, because everybody seems to know what's going on because they're so good at leading our team. From a pitching standpoint, you know, a lot of returners, a lot of upperclassmen that have contributed. Guys like Tyson Nersessian, who's a senior, and Jake Young is a junior. Brady Arch is a sophomore. Pitched a lot for us last year as a freshman. Max Mullins is a sophomore. Nate Shattuck's a junior, one of the leaders of our team on the pitching staff. So these guys do a really good job on a daily basis of, you know, not only being great pitchers and great people, but they're great leaders as well. So we're excited. We have some freshman pitchers that we're pretty excited about as well. Good group of freshmen. So hopefully we can mix those guys in there with some veterans and, you know, have a really good season.
That's true. Well, Curtis, we're up against the clock here, but thank you so much for coming on tonight, and I hope you have a safe trip down to the hills of Virginia. You know, the nice the Blue Ridge Mountains, and hoping you guys bring home a win.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me as always. Take care.
Talk to you soon. See you.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, it's Jim Calhoun, who's the baseball coach at McDaniel College. They're going to play Bridgewater over the weekend, and then head on down to Myrtle Beach. So we're going to wrap up the show here real quick. Towson did not play today. They were supposed to play against GW, but it got postponed because of the weather with all the snow. They did set a single innings record over the weekend, beating Norfolk State in the second game by a score of 28-4. So if you're Coach Shimrick, you may want to call Coach Tyner and ask him for some points.
That's good. It's cut. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I saw it, I was like,
Towson is hitting the road. They're going to hit to New Mexico State this weekend. The game will be 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time.
Yes.
So, and it's probably going to be on probably online if you want to tune in.
Probably.
Yeah.
You can probably listen to it on the radio.
Yeah, they must have the games on the radio out there. I know Towson's not bringing anybody out there to cover the game, but it's just, you know, it'll be out there 8 o'clock Eastern on Friday night against New Mexico State. You could join them on their Twitter page.
Yes.
Tigers Baseball on Twitter. Other things going on. Little news and notes before we go. Let's see here.
I thought I had my microphone on when Rick Allen was.
It's okay. It happened. Hey, he was with it, but Rick.
Yeah, I know. And I was like, speaking of, I do have to say, speaking of Rick Allen, tomorrow night he's going to be on with my good friend Andrew Pfeffer from his bowling college.
Oh, so we get the first
bowling podcast, Bowling with the Pfeff on YouTube. So I think it starts at like 8 o'clock tomorrow night. So
Andrew, that's the 8 p.m. thing. Yeah, I'll probably be home. I'll get home and I'll tune in to see it. But we appreciate it.
Yeah, and I was like, so I have 64 days until I fly to Ohio, and it'll be cool to meet Rick Allen in person.
Yes, exactly. Happy birthday to Jim Sparrows, our good friend from the CFL. It was his birthday. It's his birthday today. So, Jim, happy birthday. All of us here.
Happy birthday, Jim. Always enjoy talking to you, my friend.
Yes. What a great guy. I think if you look at the history of Baltimore football, if they didn't have the CFL here, I don't think the Browns would have been here.
And also, happy birthday to Michael Jordan.
Yes, Michael Jordan's birthday today. So happy birthday to Michael. He's probably having a good time after winning his
winning the Daytona 500. Yeah.
Speaking of Daytona, we're going to play this quick before we log off. Today in sports history, the King, Richard Petty, did something that probably hasn't been done before. Winning back-to-back 500. So here's a clip from 1977.
He had an accident here in one of the early races. Darrell Waltrip had a very heavy accident, came in contact with a car very severely and cracked his rib. And have we a car smoking on the outside right-hand side? The yellow car does look as if it's smoking a little bit, and in fact that would be Richard Brooks if it is smoking, which would be a very sad situation for him at this stage in the race. It is indeed, it's a car smoking. Now, is it a tire or is it a mechanical situation? The smoke has disappeared for the moment. It's Richard Brooks. It does look like a tire. It's Richard Brooks staying low. The number 32 car, he's in the dirt. That's where the smoke is coming from right now. The dust is being thrown up. And there you see Richard Petty sitting in behind Cale Yarborough there. As Cale moves out to pass, going into turn 3. Goes low in turn 3. Richard still stays up high in the banking, the 31-degree banking, and there's the tire. You can see it. It's Richard Brooks and Simon Ives, number 32 car. The front tire, he's going to have difficulty holding that together because the tires obviously come apart. Now, this is a very delicate situation for a racing driver. He can't go too fast or he's going to lose it. He can't go too slowly or he's not going to get back properly. He's obviously concerned about time because he's in a competitive situation.
Okay, the white flag will be out the next time around. 2 laps to go, a little less than 2 laps to go now, as they come off turn number 2. And Richard Petty, well, unless he faints on the way to the clubhouse, is going to win it, unless his car just absolutely stops. And he will win the Daytona 500 for a 5th time. That's an incredible accomplishment because no one else is anywhere near that kind of a record on this massive super speedway. And Richard Petty is going to win it. And he's going to go away from it having won the richest stock car race in history.
Driving a very well balanced.
Oh, yeah. I do have an update from the Players' Championship. This is the first day leaders. Sean Maldonado's in first. Mitch Hoope is second. Trevor Roberts is third, E.J. Tackett fourth, Nick Pate fifth, Anthony Simonson sixth.
Wow.
Our good friend Tim Floyd Jr. from Delaware is seventh. D-Ron Booker, who won the USEC Masters a couple years ago, is eighth. Our good friend Graham Fa from Canada is ninth. And rounding out the top 10 is last year's winner, Ethan Fiore. So there's your leaderboard update from Texas.
Awesome. And I think Tim had a 300 game in the first round. So
he did.
Yep, he had a 300 game along with Nate and Brad Miller. If Kristen's watching, your favorite guy.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, yes, and also Jacob Butcher had a 300 as well. So next week the PBA Tour goes to Missouri.
Yes, and I'm going to reach out to Pete Weber tomorrow and see if he's available next Tuesday. So,
thank you. Yes, let's call him.
Talk to the classic Pete Weber.
Yes.
We'll talk about his bowling tournament, and we'll hopefully talk to him about his St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah, because it's like the St. Louis Cardinals, after what they're doing in the offseason.
Yeah, I know.
It's called, you think now the St. Louis Cardinals are a AAA team, but they're not.
So next Tuesday night at the same time, let's do it at 7:45, the same time.
Yep.
We'll have hopefully Pete on. We'll have Nelson Figueroa joining us to talk some Mets baseball.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Yeah, we'll get him on to talk some Mets baseball, see what the year after Pete Alonso moving on. Yeah. So that's next Tuesday at 7:45. We appreciate you joining us. Before we go, we're a little over a time schedule here. On this date in 1971, some guy named James Taylor made his first national primetime television debut on the Johnny Cash Show. So here is a clip from that, and we'll see you all next Tuesday. I hope you guys are enjoying the weather, and thanks for joining us. So here it is.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you somehow one more time again. I thought I'd see you one more time again. There's just a few things coming my way this time around, oh. I thought I'd see you, I thought I'd see you far, name. La 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 la.